Hello, welcome to the first video of Zap's Graveyard. Now, I am Zach. As you guys can call me Zach, Zap, or anything you would like. Honestly, I don't really care as long as it's something nice. I'd rather like to call something nice. I just don't want hate. What I'm here to do, though, I don't know if you've read the description yet, whoever's watching this video. I'm here to talk about horror stories, horror events in history, horror movies, horror video games, anything to go under the horror media. Sadly, some of my horror posters are not in frame, but I do have a few horror posters, not including that. But yeah, I'm a big horror enthusiast, or just spooky things in general. I do love, I love Ghostbusters. As you can see, I have some memorabilia here. I like Marvel. What are other things I like? I like Stranger Things as well. I have a few Funko Pops of that. I also like Legos. That's not in frame, but there we go. And yeah, I like a lot of other things. That I like reading comics. There's a lot right there. But yeah, I like to do a lot of things, but mainly I'm going to focus on the horror aspect of things. And I might even do theories about things that are non-horror media that seem like horror media or have creepy stories underlining behind it, and just like things that either spook me or spook like the social media out there, because honestly, I just like that stuff, and I'm here to share it with y'all and have a good time. Honestly, everybody, I'm so glad to be starting this channel. This is very exciting for me. Hopefully it takes off well. That would be awesome. But yeah, all right, let's get into it. All right, so today we are talking about the Sodder family disappearances, which is a little bit of a sad subject. If you don't want to hear about children dying, I'm not going into detail on what happened, but it's going to be it's a little sad subject. But yeah. Let's hop right into it. So, on Christmas Eve of 1945 in Fayetteville, West Virginia, there were two parents, George and Jenny Sodder, and they had 9 children. So, in this family, they lived in a house that I'll put probably right up here. They lived in a house that was it was a relatively smaller house, but it could fit them all. They all lived in the house together, and on the night of Christmas Eve, a fire broke out in the house, and sadly, 5 of the children went missing inside the house. George and Jenny Sodder were very confused on why the fire happened, but there's a lot of theories behind it, and I'm going to get into those. So, I'm just going to list the children's names first. The first one, the eldest of them all to disappear that night, was Maurice, age 14, Martha, age 12, Louise, age 9, Jenny, age 8, and young Betty, age 5. After the firefighters and police showed up and they put the fire out and checked if the remaining family was okay, they started to investigate what happened. And there are many theories that are around it, which I'm personally going to dive into, of what I believe could be a crazy theory that would be outlandish to other people, or a relatively popular theory among the town, and what the parents even believed. So I'm going to dive into it. So the first thing that we know is that the police officials and firefighters, they said to the family that the fire was hot enough to burn bones. So that's one of the theories, is that sadly the children just died in the fire and there was nothing left of them to be found, because the fire was hot enough to burn the bones of the children. And even though that's horrible, it was a thing that the family could have taken and used as closure. But what really happened is the parents didn't believe that. And actually, quite a bit of people in the town also didn't believe that. And another weird bonus to that I forgot to add, that's why you'll see a break in the video, is that there was no smell of bodies burning that night. There was no smell of human flesh being burned, and also people thought that even though the fire was hot enough to burn bones, what officials say, people still think that there would have been remnants of the children left. And there was people that also thought that George and Ginny had death threats against them. There were multiple things that would benefit this theory, and that theory is that George Sodder actually got into a verbal argument that almost evolved into them fighting each other with a salesman who was trying to sell them life insurance, which the parallels there are insanely scary in my opinion, where the insurance agent wanted to sell them life insurance and say, hey, it'll benefit you. And George Sodder said, no, I'm good. And they started arguing about it. Well, about a few months later, half of his family died. And if they had that life insurance, it would have benefited them. But who knows really what happened. And then another thing is that this insurance agent, why another benefactor helps this theory, is that they had a strange phone call that happened from the middle of the night by a man who called them, and it was laughing on the other end. Jenny Sodder says it sounded like a man, but who knows with laughing. It could be a woman. She could just have a deeper voice. Who knows? But another thing to benefit the theory of the salesman lighting the house on fire to kill the Sodder family, and only succeeded with killing 5 out of the 11 people in the house, is that but there was a man walking around the property, or just walking around the property in the middle of the night, which, honestly, if you ask me, I don't really like the idea of a man walking around the property in the middle of the night. But, yeah, that's just me. Because I would rather not look out my window and be like, that's a guy walking out there. No, thank you. Another weird thing about that night is that there was a block and chain stolen out of George's garage, which was kind of odd because who stole it? You want to tell me who? Because honestly, I have no idea. And one of the other theories that is personally I don't believe in. I don't believe this theory because George and Jenny Sodder seemed like fairly nice people from what I read up on, is that some people have a theory of them running away. The children set this fire to run away, but there's many holes in this theory because one hole first is, why didn't they take all the children? If I were to run away, which I'm not, Mom, I'm not going to run away. If I were to run away, I would take everybody with me. And also another thing is that Jenny and George Sodder were never abusive to their children. People theorized about that. Maybe they hit their children, beat their children, verbally abused them. But no, they were never known for they were never known for, like, talking to their children horribly or doing horrible things to their children or beating their children. That was never spoken about from the remaining 4 children who were left, which I think they would have at least spoken out about it after their siblings ran away from the house. And then the fourth theory, not the fourth theory, oh my gosh. Another theory, I don't know why I said fourth, is that I came up with this on the fly. I don't really, well, not on the fly. I've wrote this stuff down and I've researched it. But another theory about what happened to the family is that it was a demonic entity. And the reason I think it was a demonic entity is that, one, I'm pretty sure the Sodder family was religious, which, let me research that real quick. Okay, scratch that. I'm not sure if the Sodder family was religious or not, but it could be a theory that goes along with this, is that a demonic entity went to go burn down their house because, one, Neighbors and Janine both said they noticed a man walking around the property, but all they could see was a shadowy silhouette. So really, was it really a shadowy silhouette of a man, or was it a demon? And maybe it was planning on locking the door, which honestly, I don't know why the demon would just plan on locking the door. I feel like it would have more power than that. Who knows though? And another thing that is a little scary about it is that the demon lit the house on fire to kill the Sodder family, but only succeeded with killing 5, which the theory of the house, the bodies being burned, the bones being burned, all of that. And it is very interesting to me if that really did happen or not, because honestly, what happened to the Sodder family was horrible. From what I've read about the Sodder family, they were devastated on their children missing, and I don't want to make the story not seem as sad as it really is, because these parents lost 5 of their children in a fire when they had 9. They had 9 children, and they lost 5 of them in a fire, and they could do nothing about it. And they still don't believe, well, sadly, Janine and George have both passed away by this point, but sadly they believed for most of their lives that they didn't die in that fire. Something happened to them. Somebody took them. They ran away. Who knows? But I'm really hoping that we will know what happened to the Sodder family at some point in our lifetime. That would be amazing to figure out what happened to them, because this disappearance shook the community of Fayetteville, West Virginia. It hurt so many souls, and I bet the other 4 siblings were traumatized from what happened. I mean, if I lost any of my siblings, I don't know what I would do, personally. It's horrible what happened to them, and I don't want to make fun of what happened to them. This was here to tell you guys about what happened, and also feel free to put your theories in the comments and other things like that, and say what you personally believe. It would be very interesting to see what you believe, and I would love it, because honestly, I'm first video. It's gonna be kind of choppy. I'm gonna try to do better. I'm going to research more. I'm going to do more things. I'm very excited for this channel, and I'm very excited for the people to interact with the channel. Feel free to subscribe. It's free. I'm not charging you anything. I don't have a Patreon or anything like that. I'm going to have an Instagram page. I'm probably going to put up an Instagram page, hopefully, if that all goes well. And yeah, I think that's how it's going to go for me from here on out. And I'm trying to think if anything else is interesting that I'm going to try to do at some point. Besides that, it is going to be mainly the real horror events, because I've researched a lot of real horror events. I'm probably going to be talking about at some point, this is my personal favorite horror movie, The Thing, which I have a poster up on the wall right over there. But, yeah, The Thing is an amazing horror movie. I love that horror movie. And yeah, it's just going to be very interesting on how this channel evolves, how to see whose lives it touches, because I would love to be able to interact with people out there in the world and make people happy, and maybe this interests people to start their own channel or start researching this stuff, or maybe even people to find actually what happened to the actual people, like the Sodder family. Maybe there's somebody that knows something about the Sodder family, and they didn't know it was a big thing. And that would be very interesting. I would love to know your theories, anything from above, things I can work on, anything. Because honestly, there is improvement. I can tell I am going to need improvement. This was a very sloppy over here episode. I'm going to do better. I'm going to do better than this, and I am very excited to see where this channel goes. And thank you, everybody. Thank you for stopping down on my first video, and I really hope you enjoyed it, and I really hope you come back for the next one. Everybody, please stay in the graveyard, and please do not dig.